There's a reason why men that are born after the year 2000 are aging quicker and look older than men that were born prior in the 1990s and 80s and even the 70s. The generation that's born in the year 2000 and later is actually looking older, they're looking more tired, and they're just aging more. And you see a lot more people that are bald, younger people that are going bald in their early 20s that weren't before, and people that have just like really odd body shapes and odd body sizes, and they just have like this weird look where they're either like super skinny or super fat, or they have some odd thing going on about their body. There's not that many like actually in shape, thorough men that were born after 2000. And there's a couple reasons why men that were born in the 90s and 80s actually had a lifestyle outside of social media and internet. They weren't online all the time, right? Before 2008, the year 2007, we didn't have social media and we didn't have internet on our phones. So a lot of men that were teenagers at that time or kids at that time were actually outside with their friends, either rollerblading, skateboarding, riding bikes, or scooters, and they were outside till about 10 p.m. late at night until their mother came chasing them with a slipper in their hand, asking them where they've been because they need to get back home and do homework. But the men now, they're just like the men that were born in the 2000s, them growing up after 2008 and later when they were 9, 10, 11 years old, they've just spent their entire life online. They don't really know what it's like to be outside a lot. All their updates that they get through is through social media, right? Any friend, what did a friend do over the weekend? Who hung out with who? How was the weather? What news happened? Anything that's going on, they get it only through online, and they even say hi to each other online as if like they've caught up with their friends. They're not actually gonna go to like their friend's house, knock on their door, and ask them, "Hey, what's going on, man? Let's hang out." Even if they live in the same town, they're just gonna shoot a text, happy birthday text or happy anniversary text, and act like they've caught up. This Instagram post by Hey Deli actually describes this in a really well way. It says people born between 85 to 95 often look younger than those that are 10 to 20 years younger, Gen Z. And it's not because of genetic or luck. It's actually because millennials grew up before life became fully digital. They weren't constantly on screens and stories and algorithms, right? They actually had real conversations, boredom, silence, and presence, not nonstop comparing yourself to everybody else's story and seeing who's doing the best and who's traveling to the better place and who has more travel stories in their profile. Okay, there was less anxiety, all right. And then secondly, the relationships with their body was also different. Adulthood didn't begin with extreme dieting and all these routines and optimizing everything. All right. The body just naturally ages better when it's not constantly pushed, restricted, measured, or corrected. Things were deeper, sleep, movement, food, everything was deeper. And then also mental health was better also because if you made any mistakes, if you got into any fights or anything like that in school, it wasn't all recorded on cameras and screenshots, right? Things could actually happen more privately. New generation measures how cool you are by how you look like online, but earlier generations measured how cool you were by actually how cool you were in person. The conversation skills you had in person, the connections you had in person, the people you knew in person, the value that you offered in person. That was actually your image, your authenticity. But now, the online image of who you are is actually deemed more important to assessing your coolness than how you actually are in person. And what this creates is this fake sort of environment where all men are just putting on their best front, their best version online, and they're often pretending to be something they're not. But then when you meet them in person, you're like, dude, what the hell? Like, you're not as bold as you are in person, that you're on a camera. You're not as inspiring and as authentic. Like, on the spot, when I meet you in person, you're not that person that you show that you're online. This bold, charismatic, authentic, forward spoken person. In person, you're just like kind of like meek and shoulder slumped and you're kind of shy and you're just soft spoken. But online, you're bold and confident. So, so now it's become this circus where everybody's just pretending like they're only living life online, and in real life, they could be living a completely different life. Whereas millennials and older generations, our life was our life. We didn't have much of an online life. Yeah, we had a little bit of social media, AOL chat, Yahoo chat, stuff like that. You could go online for a couple hours and chat to someone across the country. Cool. But the greater part of your life was happening in your neighborhood and where you live. This is why we aged better. We just aged better because we lived outside. We lived real life. We didn't compare ourselves all the time. We didn't put our body through like crazy diets and all this stuff. We didn't brand normal food organic. We didn't brand like eating healthy as having a spiritual, kind of awakening of how to eat food. If we fasted from sunrise to sunset. We didn't fast for 3 hours and call it a 3 hour fast. Like there's some people that were typing the other day on social media. I read a post. They were like, just did a 3 hour fast and now I'm off to the gym. It's like, dude, why would you call not eating for 3 hours a fast? That's just regular stuff. But you see, the new generation has to brand every single thing. They have to give it a name to every single thing and every single movement. And they're constantly fighting between the identity they want to choose and what they want to be. And this causes them to age faster. It causes them to have less mental peace and more crap that's going on in their mind. Whereas us older men, we're just kind of kicked back and we're like, listen, we got some experience. We know what to do and not to do. We see all this stuff going on, but we're going to stick to one or two things and just go down that path and we're going to stick to that role. It's real that's going on social media where they ask people their age and then the people that say they were born in the 2000s, they get their reaction. And then when someone says they're born in 19 and then it cuts to a scene where it shows like a dinosaur or a prehistoric time.
Born 2007. Hey, what year were you born? 2003. What year were you born? 19.
So this is what I'm talking about, man. A lot of people on social media, especially this younger crowd that are like just 20s, 21, 22, they are spending all their time on the internet and this is aging them quicker and this is why they're not looking as sharp. Sure, they're online more, they know the lingo more, and a lot of them actually earn more money than their older counterparts, which is hats off to them. I'll definitely give them that. They're definitely into more things and adventures and stuff like that, but there's just a whole majority, I would say majority portion, where they're just aging bad. They're hitting vapes, they're hitting all these vapes and tobaccos and nicotines and jewels and all this stuff that's just going to make them look older. And this is not helping them, just hurting them down the line. They're not going to get, they're really not going to have an edge. And they should be worried, but they should be worried because your years are all you have in your life. You want to have at least 70 to 80 years of a long, fulfilling, healthy life and not just age out quick and hit your longevity quick. To the people that are in their 30s and 40s, aging well, keep doing what you're doing. Don't get distracted by all the noise and all the 1 million directions you see on social media. Just stay centered, stay thorough, and you're going to enjoy your fruits of your efforts long down the line. You're not going to age out quick and burn out quick.